So, what? Today we are going to explain the third episode of the Goblin Korean drama. Go to description to watch the previous episode. According to the ghosts, Ji-yoon Tak is the Goblin's bride, but Goblin doesn't believe it because Ji-yoon Tak can't see Goblin's sword. Ji-yoon Tak runs away from Grim Reaper when she's 9 years old, but she meets the Reaper again when she is 19 years old. Also, she meets Goblin. But now, both Grim Reaper and Goblin live in the same house. In the meantime, two loan sharks who want to collect Ji-yoon Tak's mother's insurance money kidnap Ji-yoon Tak. Now, Ji-yoon Tak is in a situation between life and death. Will Goblin save Ji-yoon Tak? Or will Grim Reaper lead her to death? Will Goblin believe that Ji-yoon Tak is Goblin's bride? Or will Goblin go to another country to find the bride again? To know all this, we have to wait until the drama ends. So, let's jump into the drama. Ji-yoon Tak prays to save her. The loan sharks who are kidnapping Ji-yoon Tak suddenly stop the car. The lights on the road go out one by one. Out of the darkness, Goblin comes towards the car with Grim Reaper. The loan sharks drive the car to run them over, but the car is cut in half by a blue flame. The loan sharks go to one side of the car and Ji-yoon Tak to the other. Ji-yoon Tak cries in fear. Goblin has cut the car in half with his sword. Grim Reaper is leaning against one part of the car where Ji-yoon Tak is. Goblin opens the door and takes Ji-yoon Tak out and asks if she is injured. "How can you ask I'm injured after being cut the car in two like this?" Ji-yoon Tak scolds. The Goblin puts Ji-yoon Tak's scarf around her neck and approaches the loan sharks. They are stuck in the car. Goblin says, "That road will disappear from the map for 2 days, so no one will see these two. Then the police will come and take them away." Grim Reaper changes the loan sharks' memories, saying that they only saw the two fighting, nothing else. Reaper also says that the two will never be friends again. Then the three of them walk along the road. Ji-yoon Tak suspects that Grim Reaper really has come to help her. She thinks that she is dead and has become a ghost. At that time, Reaper's asking Goblin in mind when Ji-yoon Tak will thank him for saving her life. Goblin screams to escape this torment. Ji-yoon Tak, thinking that he was shouted at her, and scolds him for not even one car driving on the road and goes ahead. Then Reaper says to Goblin in mind, "Someone closed this road for 2 days?" Later, Ji-yoon Tak, who went to a restaurant, tells Goblin she is not angry with Goblin because he saved her mother. She says that she will not pray or think about Goblin again. Then, Goblin can leave here freely. At the same time, she says, as if hinting, "Someone will come to you. You will find someone with a beautiful heart that will understand you." Goblin stops Ji-yoon Tak from leaving without eating, saying that if he pays, she will eat. At home, Dokwa meets Goblin and tells him about Ji-yoon Tak's aunt and how she is bothering Ji-yoon Tak to get the insurance money that Ji-yoon Tak's mother saved. Goblin is surprised that Dokwa is so useful. Goblin is about to punish the aunt. Meanwhile, the aunt scolds and pulls out Ji-yoon Tak's cupboard. She sees 2 gold bars in a drawer. She thinks that Ji-yoon Tak doesn't have a bank book because she has exchanged her money to gold. The aunt, daughter, and son keep these gold bars on a table and don't sleep. Guard them, hoping that someone will take them. They stay until morning, pawning it and getting the money. When the aunt and son wake up in the morning, the daughter has taken the gold. While the two of them are running around frantically looking for their daughter, Goblin and Dokwa to watching it together. Goblin points a boy from an idol group on TV and says that the king he protected is the same age. Dokwa is surprised when he says that Goblin has protected a king. Goblin shows the boy from the idol group for Grim Reaper, who came home, and says that if the king is reborn, he must be that age. He wants revenge. But Reaper says that he can't tell if the boy is the king without touching him. Dokwa doesn't understand what these two are saying. He asks what Reaper can do when he touches someone. These two don't even realize that Dokwa is there. Reaper shows someone from a girl group who says that the king can be reborn as a girl. Goblin says that if he becomes a beautiful girl like this, he will forget his 1,000 years of anger. Then Grim Reaper goes to a hospital. There's a senior Grim Reaper and 2 new Reapers there. 2 new ones greet the Grim Reaper. Junior Reaper, who comes there, reminds the Grim Reaper that there are 2 people who have missed him, and he asks him to prepare the files and hand it over quickly. As Junior Reaper leaves, a beautiful Reaper girl comes. She talks to other Reapers and leaves. At the same time, Grim Reaper leaves for his job when some urgent patients are bringing. Reaper who came to the doctor tells the doctor the name and time of death. Doctor died from exhaustion. When he learns that the patient was saved due to his efforts, he is happy about it. No matter how much Ji-eun-tak tries to forget, she always remembers Goblin. Goblin also remembers Ji-eun-tak. Ji-eun-tak goes to the store and looks for the fairy tale book with maple leaf in it, but it's not there. At this time, someone takes the maple leaf from the book and says that it's not his. Ji-eun-tak says that it's hers. It's not anyone else. Dokwa, it's not anyone else. He's the one who took the book that Ji-eun-tak left that day. Ji-eun-tak talks to Dokwa. When asked why he reads Goblin's fairy tales, Dokwa says that he knows a goblin, but he brushes it off as a joke. When Dokwa arrives at Goblin's house, his grandfather is standing with Grim Reaper. Grandpa still doesn't know who the Grim Reaper is. When Goblin comes out of the room, Reaper says he's a friend of Goblin's, but Goblin says they're not friends and sends Dokwa out of the house. As he walks out of the house, Dokwa scolds Goblin. Reaper, who is also angry with Dokwa, freezes the stairs. Goblin comes out and plays a joke to Reaper and tells go inside. Goblin tells Dokwa to go home. Dokwa says that it would be better to be a ghost in this house than go home now. Later, while Goblin is dancing happily on his way back from the washroom, he sees Reaper leaving a sheet with "Good night" written in blood on the floor near the door. Goblin is scared of it. He can't go any further. He shouts at Reaper to apologize and to remove it. Meanwhile, Sunny finds out that Ji-eun-tak is sleeping at the shop at night. She shows her a toothbrush and a piece of paper that Ji-eun-tak wrote.
Ji-eun-tak wrote a chit to Sunny about sleeping in the shop every day, but she never gave it to her. However, Sunny knows about Ji-eun-tak's aunt. She gives Ji-eun-tak a week's salary and says that she will pay her weekly from then on. Ji-eun-tak is frying a squid for Sunny when she remembers Goblin. At the same time, the falmez catches fire, so she blows onto it. A goblin in a library sees smoke around him, so he is happy that Ji-eun-tak asked for him. Goblin also appears in front of Ji-eun-tak with a book. Ji-eun-tak says that she didn't bring him willingly. It's because she was blown out the flame. When Ji-eun-tak asks if the goblin has not gone on the long journey he said he's going on, Goblin scolds her and tries to leave. But Ji-eun-tak wants to know what the goblin wants to see. Goblin says that if he tells her what it is, even if she can't see it, Ji-eun-tak will lie and say she can see it. But Ji-eun-tak says that even if she can see it, she will pretend she can't see it, because she doesn't like Goblin at all. Now Goblin is suspicious. When Goblin points to his chest and asks if she can see anything that hurts there, Ji-eun-tak asks if that's what it is, and goes to leave. Goblin gives Ji-eun-tak food. While Ji-eun-tak is eating, Goblin asks if she can see it, but Ji-eun-tak interrupts. Goblin gets angry and shouts because he wants to know if she can see the sword. That is why he takes Ji-eun-tak to a cafe. Grim Reaper comes there. Ji-eun-tak asks the Reaper if he came because she is going to die, but Reaper comes there to drink some beverage. Reaper leans over to Ji-eun-tak, looks her in the eye, and says in mind, "You can see the sword. You can pull it out." But Ji-eun-tak doesn't hear it. However, the goblin hears it. Reaper wonders why she can't hear anything like a normal person. Ji-eun-tak doesn't hear what Reaper is saying. Goblin says she's an unusual person. Then Reaper leaves. Ji-eun-tak asks if all Grim Reapers are that beautiful. Jealous Goblin asks if he isn't beautiful and takes the drink. Ji-eun-tak thinks that someone nearby is beautiful and takes another drink. The guy in the cafe is texting his girlfriend. At the same time, another girl comes to the cafe while she is on a call with her boyfriend. Goblin uses his power to make the two meet. While the guy is holding the girl, they end up dating by lying that they have no one to love. Ji-eun-tak watches this with interest. Ji-eun-tak thinks that Goblin is a cupid. According to Goblin, once every 100 years, 1 or 2 people are reborn from their previous faces. The man is a very evil person in his previous life. The woman is the same. They both lied and lost the people who loved them in this life. Goblin says that they should both go to their own hell. Ji-eun-tak asks if she made a mistake in her previous life to become the Goblin's bride. Goblin says that she is not a bride. When Goblin asks again if she sees the sword, Ji-eun-tak moves out of the way. This time, when she turns around, Goblin is still staring at her. Goblin, who came home, remembers Juntok and laughs. Takwa, who comes there, asks about the Grim Reaper and says that he will also become a Grim Reaper in the next life. But Goblin says that he must have committed a great sin to become a Grim Reaper. But Goblin can't imagine how Takwa found out about the Grim Reaper. Takwa reminds him of how Goblin called him Reaper and cursed him on the day the lightning struck. At that moment, the Reaper appears. As the frightened Takwa moves out of the way, the Grim Reaper appears in front of him and asks how Takwa knows about he is a Reaper. Takwa says that when they suddenly appear, everyone will know. That's why he tells them to be careful of such things. Goblin and Reaper are scolding each other again. This time, Goblin scolds the Reaper for having committed a great sin in his past life. The Reaper, hurt by that, scolds him and leaves.
He comes into the room and writes down every sin he can think of that he committed in his past life, because a Grim Reaper cannot remember the sins he made in his past life. At that moment, Goblin comes and apologizes for what he said earlier, but Reaper asks what kind of sin he must have made in his past life. Goblin says that no matter what sin he made, Reaper will not lose his dislike for him. Reaper laughs at that. Usually, a Reaper does not laugh. Takwa talks to his grandfather about Goblin and Reaper being together like this. Grandfather says that one is sad because he does not remember his past life, the other lives without being able to forget his past life. They both live with each other. At this moment, it seems that grandfather has given Takwa a punishment. The next day, Takwa comes across a building. He got it for his 9th birthday. Now he wants to sell it and get the money. That's where Sunny's chicken shop is. Secretary Kim has been sent to track down Dokwa by Grandpa. Dokwa wants to fix his blocked credit card somehow. Meanwhile, Grim Reaper sneaks out of Goblin's house and is caught by Goblin. Reaper says he's going to the supermarket. Goblin goes to the supermarket with Reaper saying that Reaper is going to meet Ji-eun-tak. Reaper says that he won't do anything to Ji-eun-tak because she's Goblin's bride, and he wants the sword to appear soon and the Goblin to die. Goblin angrily goes to Reaper with flames coming out of his body. When Reaper tells him that there are people around, Goblin calms down and tells Reaper that Reaper will meet Ji-eun-tak when he leaves, but don't touch her. Reaper asks if Goblin is really leaving. He feels sad at this moment. Goblin disappears through the supermarket door. Reaper comes out and looks for Goblin. Goblin has gone to Ji-eun-tak's house. Ji-eun-tak sees him entering the gate and drags him outside. Goblin says that he wanted to see Ji-eun-tak. Ji-eun-tak learns from the Goblin that her aunt is not home. She has come to get the bunch of cornflowers that Goblin gave her, but she doesn't tell Goblin about it. Goblin, who has gone home, is getting ready to leave the country. Meanwhile, Grim Reaper is walking over the bridge. The godmother speaks and tells him to get a hairpin and holds a mirror to Reaper's face. At that time, Reaper sees that jade ring. He remembers it was the ring that the Queen of Goryeo wore. Just as the Reaper is about to take the ring, Sunny comes and takes the ring. Tears fall from the Reaper's eyes. Seeing the tears, Sunny thinks that Reaper is crying because he wants the ring. She says she'll give the ring and asks him to give his number. But Reaper doesn't have a phone. That's why he says there's no way to give her the number. Just as Sunny is about to put the ring on her finger, Reaper tells her to write down Sunny's number and leave it on the table with the ring. Sunny gives her hand to shake and introduces herself, but Reaper avoids her hand and mispronounces Sunny's name. As the two look at each other, Godmother asks who pays the money. She says it doesn't matter who pays because they both end up paying a lot. Meanwhile, Goblin is looking at a painting of the Queen of Korea. Let's go back to the time when the Goblin killed the advisor of the king. That's when he finds this painting of the Queen's face. He only takes that painting and sets the palace on fire that day. He remembers how the Queen told him to go forward without stopping. In the present, Goblin is looking at that painting. He looks at her and cries. While Ji-eun-tak is working at the chicken shop, the young ghost is pestering Ji-eun-tak to come with her because she can't go alone. Ji-eun-tak acts like she doesn't hear, so Ghost says she's going to kill Sunny. As she approaches Sunny, Sunny slams the water bottle on the table and starts swearing. The ghost, who was scared by that, runs away. Sunny scolds Grim Reaper because the Reaper hasn't called Sunny yet. Sunny tells Ji-eun-tak about Reaper and the ring. She says that Reaper is the most beautiful boy she has ever seen. Meanwhile, Grim Reaper is holding the paper with Sunny's number written on it. He remembers how Sunny gave him the number card with a kiss. Apparently, Reaper likes Sunny. That night, when Jeontaek goes to her aunt's house, they are not in the house. Jeontaek takes the dried cornflowers and puts her bag in a locker at a public center. Next day at school, her teacher checks to see what's in her bag. Teacher sees the matches and lighters in it and thinks that Jeontaek is smoking cigarettes. Only Jeontaek knows that they are supposed to bring Goblin. Other students had told the teacher that they saw Jeontaek was smoking, so teacher scolds her. Also insults her for good studying skills. When Reaper goes to drink a beer, thinking about Sunny, Goblin steals it. The two of them sit on opposite sides of the table and talk. That's when Reaper learns that Goblin used to be a general. The two of them pass hints there and then. But Reaper feels sad that Goblin is about to leave. Then Goblin repeatedly opens the front door and goes out and comes in. Reaper is also tired of watching this, but Goblin is looking for where Jeontaek is. Goblin can't find Jeontaek's place without Jeontaek bringing him. He takes his umbrella and leaves again. Meanwhile, Jeontaek goes to the harbor and talks to her mother and cries. At the same time, it starts to rain. Goblin comes from behind and raises his umbrella. Goblin says that it is raining because he is sad. Jeontaek says that she came to the harbor because she is sad. At that time, she says that a person has 4 stages in life: the stage of sowing seeds, the stage of watering, the stage of harvesting, and the stage of using the harvest.
Goblin is surprised that Jeontaek knows that because it is something only the dead know. So Jeontaek hears ghosts. She gives the laminated maple leaf to Goblin. Goblin pats Jeontaek's head and says he's leaving the next day. At home, Reaper asks the Goblin if he's packed his things again. He says he's happy to ask that from the Goblin again and again, but they both sit on the sofa, sad. At this time, the doorbell rings. That bell rings after 60 years. So suddenly, they both fear that the god has come. Bell rings again. When Grim Reaper opens the door, Jeontaek is in front. When Jeontaek sees the Reaper, she goes to leave. Then Goblin comes out. Jeontaek has come Goblin's house, asking where the Goblin's house is from the ghosts. Jeontaek learns that day Reaper and Goblin lives in the same house. Jeontaek has come to stop Goblin from leaving. She asks, "I see what you want. Will you stop?" She says, "Don't go." Goblin doesn't believe Jeontaek can see the sword. Jeontaek points to Goblin's chest and says, "This is a sword." She reaches out and points to it. Lightning strikes, and the sword in Goblin's chest becomes visible. This is how the 3rd episode of the Goblin drama ends. Seeing the sword means Jeontaek is really Goblin's bride? Will Jeontaek pull out Goblin's sword? What sin did the Grim Reaper in his past life to become a god of death? Will the Reaper find Sunny again? What is the connection between the two and the ring? Then we'll see you in the next episode.